This is Prime Crime Network. Welcome to the Filthy Badge series,
Police officers take an oath to protect and serve,
where we go precinct to precinct finding the dirtiest cops.
Lionel Dely joined the force in 2015, but tonight he's in jail charged with rape.
Some officers across the country are misusing that authority.
And now, the accused.
Viewer discretion is advised.
A former Atlanta police officer will spend the next decades behind bars after a jury found him guilty of doing the unthinkable to an entrepreneur in her own home. A Cherokee County judge reached the guilty verdict for Lionel Joseph Dely on October 21st. The district attorney's office said that Dely was sentenced to 50 years in prison, followed by a lifetime on probation and other conditions. Cherokee County Superior Court Judge Tony Baker told Dely before he sentenced him that he had a very cold heart and treated these women as if they were nothing. Your badge is supposed to be used to serve and protect, but you use it to abuse and prey on these women. The woman reported the incidents to deputies on February 2nd. The woman told investigators she runs a massage business out of her own home, and a new client arrived for his scheduled appointment. Prosecutors then said that halfway through the appointment, the client, identified as Dely, showed his APD badge and said he was conducting an investigation. This is when Dely sexually assaulted the woman. The victim said she feared repercussions because Dely intimidated her with his badge. She called 911 to report the crime 3 days later after a friend convinced her to do it. Deputies launched an investigation and learned that Dely was in fact an Atlanta police officer, and prosecutors said that there was enough evidence to charge Dely with these unthinkable sex crimes. He turned himself over to the authorities, and the Atlanta Police Department fired him. The Cherokee County Sheriff's Office learned about 3 other victims that Dely had sexually assaulted in other counties. While they could not add charges in Cherokee County, the victims agreed with deputies to testify at Dely's trial. The trial lasted all but 5 days, and it only took the jury 1 hour to reach a unanimous guilty verdict. Two of Dely's victims gave impact statements during the sentencing. One looked him in the eyes and said that, "I am standing here, not a helpless victim, but a warrior who faced evil, stood up and said, 'Enough is enough. I stand here today because I deserve justice.'" That's what one woman said. Another woman said that, "I can't tell you how grateful I am that I'm free and Lionel Dely is not." She added that she came forward to report her and testify so Dely wouldn't hurt anyone else. The judge sentenced Dely to 45 years in prison and another 5 years for the violation of oath count. Dely will be required to spend life on probation and register as a sex offender. He must also have no contact with the victims and pay $1,100 in restitution.
First tonight, a
Prime Crime Network.
exclusive.
And here we have a 27-year-old former Baltimore County police officer who was convicted of second-degree and assault in August, and he would be allowed to serve his 4-year sentence at home. A judge sentenced Anthony Westerman to 15 years in prison, but suspended all of the sentence except for 4 years in home detention. Westerman was convicted in August of 2 counts of second-degree rape, third-degree sexual offense, fourth-degree sexual offense, and 2 counts of second-degree assault for incidents from 2017 to 2019 with 2 separate women. A judge withdrew one of the convictions, which Westerman pleaded not guilty to, but by him withdrawing it, this allows Westerman to appeal his convictions. Westerman was suspended without pay from the Baltimore Police Department after he was charged in 2019. A spokesperson for the department confirmed that that was true and added that he was fired. The criminal investigation initiated by the Baltimore County Police Department, is an example of our commitment to holding individuals responsible for their actions, Police Chief Melissa Hyatt said in a statement. The first incident happened in 2017 when Westerman and a 22-year-old woman were among a group drinking at a bar. The victim supposedly had consumed a large amount of alcohol and passed out in her car. Westerman and a friend of the victim woke her up, and Westerman offered to order an Uber to take them back to the friend's home. Both the victim and her friend had fallen asleep during the Uber ride, which they shared with Westerman and one of his male friends, and when they woke up, they were at Westerman's residence. While inside, the victim fell asleep on the couch while Westerman, his friend, and the victim's friend watched the movie. The two friends eventually left the room when Westerman put on a pornographic film. The next thing the victim remembered, according to reports, was being in the middle of the couch and she was on her back with Westerman on top of her. Her pants had been removed, and then he assaulted her, saying that he liked it when she pushed at him and when she told him to stop and get off, according to the reports. The victim then passed out, and when she awakened again, her and her friend left. And in 2019, a 20-year-old woman who considered Westerman to be her big brother accused him of doing the same thing to her. But according to the reports, Westerman was acquitted of those charges. About 2 weeks after the 2019 incident, a third woman accused Westerman of repeatedly trying to kiss her at a bar against her will. That incident led to his other assault conviction. Westerman's attorney said that Westerman and his family are relieved that the judge did the right thing by not sending him to prison while the appeal is pending. Officer Westerman maintains his innocence, and his lawyer and family believe that the verdict was against the weight of the evidence and that he will ultimately be exonerated. At the sentencing, Judge Keith Truffer said that there was no evidence of any psychological injury to the assault victim, despite her indicating she received therapy following the incident. And the judge said at the time of the verdict that the incident may be the most traumatic moment of her life.
This was a very serious offense. He attacked a woman who was clearly intoxicated.
Anthony Westerman is a former Baltimore County police officer who had been convicted of 2 counts. One incident happened in October of 2017. Another occurred in June of 2019.
He told her he was going to have her dropped off at her house, and he had her taken to his house, and she was unconscious. When she woke up, he was on top of her, sexually assaulting her.
After a trial in August of 2021, Westerman was convicted of 2 counts of second-degree, third-degree sexual offense, and fourth-degree sexual assault. And on Friday, Judge Keith Truffer says he made a mistake and only intended to convict Westerman on 1 of 2 counts.
I think that factored into it. I think the judge was concerned about Westerman's safety in the Division of Correction if he went there. But Westerman should have thought of that before he committed the crime, not after it's all over with and he's convicted.
On Friday, Judge Truffer sentenced Westerman to 4 years of in-home detention for one of the assaults and just 1 day of jail time for the other assault. This comes after Judge Truffer determined there was not any evidence of psychological injury to the victim, despite the fact she received therapy after the attack. It's a sentence that shocked many, and Schellenberger says it was a slap on the wrist.
When you're serving a second-degree rape conviction and you're at your own home, that's a slap on the wrist. I think it certainly sends a message that that if you commit an offense like this and then end up in front of this judge, you may end up doing your time sitting on your couch at home watching TV.
It was exclusive.
Lionel Dely and the woman met the day of the assault. And the woman told investigators Dely identified himself as an officer and said he was, quote, conducting an investigation shortly before assaulting her in her home at an apartment in Ackworth. Deputies wouldn't say what led him to that apartment complex, but did say they found evidence to support the charge.
All sexual assaults are concerning, every single one of them. This one is absolutely no different, but certainly when the suspect is a law enforcement officer, it's even more troubling than it would be otherwise.
Officer Dely turned himself in on Friday. He is currently here in the Cherokee County Jail without bond. APD says they are cooperating fully with the investigation, that Officer Dely has been suspended without pay pending an employment hearing.
An Atlanta police officer charged with rape is officially out of a job.
I said I would not be surprised if this cop hasn't done it before, talking about the sexual assault. Well, guess what? It turned out to be true. 50 years is the sentence.
Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell. And check us out on PrimeCrimeNetwork.com.